What's going on, guys? Welcome to another one of BlackIron's battles, and we are back with more of this tournament action from the Shadow Online Gaming's YouTubers Tournament. So we've got my third game here in round one, the group round, and we are up against the Beastmen, and it is Ragnarok Total War. So my opponent here is taking the Beastmen. You see that I've brought Chaos. And each round, in case you guys don't know, we had to pre-pick our armies in advance based on just only knowing who our opponent was. And so we saw who our opponent was, and then we went ahead and picked our army. So each army was only able to be used once. I think there was six games in the beginning, so we had to pick 6 different armies. And so it is just by pure chance that we ended up with the Chaos against Beastmen here. So, all right, first off, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys which hero we got here, and I'll give you a little bit of information as to why we picked him. So, oh, there we go. He's moving around too much. We've got Prince Sigvald here, and Prince Sigvald, I've went ahead and added his auric armor, which will replenish the hit points of himself, so he will regenerate his health, and that actually, you know, it really keeps him with his 100 armor, his shield, everything he's got here. Look at those 60 and 65 for attack and defense. He is just super buff and hard to take out, and since he is on foot, he's not a large unit, and so a lot of the anti-large bonuses that you would get on a lot of the Beastmen players won't be effective against him. It's really just really hard to take out Prince Sigvald. So I definitely didn't want to be hero sniped. Besides that, we do have this Chaos Sorcerer with the Lure of Death, and you see we have brought him on a steed there to make him nice and fast, and the only thing we've brought to keep him nice and cheap is Spirit Leech and Fate of Buna. So we want to get the maximum gold out of our free Winds of Magic that we get, so we just brought 2 spells, one Fate of Buna to hit just a big damage on large unit groups that have lots of armor and stuff, and the Spirit Leech to drop on heroes. Over here on each flank, we do have 2 Chaos Marauders with great weapons. So you can see here, there those guys are wiggling around, and we have those right on the flanks. And then right here in the middle, we do have these 3 groups of regular Chaos Warriors. So they've got silver shields, so they can take any throwing axes or anything from Ungor Raiders that we may see. 100 armor, they're going to be able to just soak up anything and just chop right through any of Gorebulls or any type of units like that the Beastmen would bring, are just going to easily die to those Chaos Warriors. Here in the back, you'll see we've got 3 groups of Chosen, 2 groups of Chosen with halberds for their anti-large ability. And let's go ahead and zoom in on them here. You can see they've got those halberds, they've got anti-large, so they've got just tons of defense, 54 defense. And you can see here the regular Chosen, let's see, the regular Chosen here, they actually have 60 defense, but they don't have that anti-large effect, but 120 armor, silver shields on these Chosen in the middle, so those guys will be able to last, and they'll be able to hang toe-to-toe with Beastlords when they encounter them. Here in the back, we do have 1 group of Chaos Poison Warhounds, and we have a second group over here. You know, I normally do like to do things in pairs. We do have 1 on each side, kind of trying to protect the flanks against any mobile units. And over here on the right, you can see we do have 3 groups of Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. So I had figured go hard or go home. I had to bring enough throwing axes to actually cause some major damage to the mobile units of the Beastmen, and so we went with 3. We've got these 2 Chaos Poison Warhounds, so we're nice and mobile. You know, for a Chaos army, you can see we've went heavy infantry, heavy with the infantry lords, heavy damage spells, and then we've went just with quick units for the flanking maneuvers. Over here for Ragnarok's army, you can see here in the forest, he does have 2 groups of Centaurs with throwing axes, and those are just so awesome. I mean, if you guys saw my last game against Sioux Devil, I brought the Centaurs with throwing axes, and I mean, they're just so strong because they have that armor piercing, and also when they go into melee mode and charge in, they can fight pretty well in melee as well. In here in the front line, you can see he does have a bunch of Ungor Spearmen herd. He's got 4 groups of Ungor Spearmen, which is always good to have some of those flak units. Typically, though, you would want to set them up here in front if you were me. I would set my flak units up here in the front, let them get up there and they'd kind of take the charge. But at the same time, since I have these Chaos Warriors, he's lucky he didn't, because those Ungor Spearmen would get chopped to pieces. Over here, the Beastlord herd, 3 groups of Beastlord herd as well. which are my favorite unit of infantry on the Beastmen roster. You know that. We've got that 40 armor piercing weapon strength, 100 armor. These guys are just awesome. So they're really good. And it is good to have them mixed in with that chaff there to keep them alive longer, you know, because they don't have the highest defense, only 24. So they'll have a hard time with those. You saw with those chosen with halberds with 54 and 60 defense. Here in the back, he does have 2 Gorebulls, and each of those Gorebulls, it looks like, does have all of their abilities as well. You can see here he's got Blood Greed, he does have Deadly Onslaught, and Axe. Oh, that has got the Axe of Men on it, so he has even got the activatable. So these are some expensive Gorebulls. So when you do bring 2 Gorebulls like this, it does reduce the cost of pretty much the rest of the units you can bring. So this is a lot of eggs in one basket with 2 groups of Minotaurs here in the back. Regular Minotaurs, no shields on these boys, and they are in here ready for action. Look at those. They're swinging some heavy damage, 77 armor piercing damage. So those are the boys that will be able to cut right through the armor of those chosen, right through the armor of these Chaos Warriors, and as long as you can keep them alive, these Minotaurs will do some major damage. All right, and then last but not least, we've got this hero here, a regular Beastlord, keeping it nice and cheap, putting all the money into his Bestigors and his Minotaurs and stuff like that. You can see here he does have Apocalyptic Vision to give that extra melee attack, so that's always a good you know, ability to keep. Plus the leadership can be super helpful. So that's pretty much it. So you know, we've definitely got this ranged component over here on the flank. You see that they are lined right up with my ranged component, which is over here, which is actually on my right side, which is pretty typical for me, I guess. I found out after watching Sue Devil's he made a video showing his game with me, and he pointed out that I always like to have my cavalry on the right flank there. So you'll see he's lined up there to take me on, and let's go ahead and get this battle started and watch and see how it goes. All right. So we go ahead and we're just going to start moving everything in right away. We're just going to kind of try to be aggressive, and we're going to try to push the advantage that we have with all of these heavy elite infantry units. Over here on the right, you'll see we are going to start moving right in on these Centaurs with throwing axes. We're going to pull up and just start tossing our axes. So since we have 3 units, I'm also going to be sending those Chaos Poison Warhounds in. And let's go ahead and slow it down for 1 second. We've got this group of Chaos Poison Warhounds slowly coming around here to get into the flanks. And over here on the right, we are focus firing all of these Chaos Poison Warhounds, or sorry, all of these Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes right onto this one group of Centaurs with throwing axes, and you can see they took some pretty heavy damage. Here in the front line, all of our units have kind of charged in and met, and actually, I think maybe his units may have been on they may have been on attack move and not been directed to attack, because I don't think they got the charge bonus. So if we take a look from above, you can see over here on the right that the Centaurs with throwing axes have already went down, and now we do have those Chaos Poison Warhounds engaged here right in the middle. And they're going to do some good damage. I mean, they will use their poison attacks to slow down these Centaurs with throwing axes, and it looks like that second group of Centaurs is going to go down pretty quickly as well. Over here on the right flank, you can see that all of these Ungor Spearmen herd have engaged. I mean, they've taken down some of these Chaos Marauders with great weapons, but they can't do too much damage against them. We're also charging right into the back with that Chaos Sorcerer of Death. And so here in the back, the Gorebull is actually fighting against Prince Sigvald, who has Foe Seeker, but you can see we've also got those chosen with halberds, and their anti-large will definitely do some good damage to that Gorebull. All right, let's take a look at the rest of the front line. You can see those Minotaurs have got the Fate of Buna on them, so their health is dropping pretty quickly, but they're going to destroy those Chaos Warriors. Here in the back, you can see some of those Chaos Poison Warhounds have been, you know, taken off the field, but also so have these Minotaurs. We had this other group of chosen with halberds engaged right into the Minotaurs, and now that we've taken off both of those groups of Centaurs with throwing axes, we've also got our throwing axes kind of just throwing into the flanks. So we've got all these Marauder Horsemen. You can see there's here a group in the back that have kind of been trying to take some shots at the Gorebull. Here in the main battle, there's all of these units engaged. You can see those Minotaurs just sending units flying, but they are facing just a horde of chaos units. I mean, this is just the front line. The Bestigors and Ungor Spearmen, when they were engaged like that, they even had a hard time, if you will, getting through those Chaos Warriors. In the back, these chosen with halberds, here in this side, the chosen with halberds, they're doing a great job. I think this one group of chosen here in the middle has taken a few losses. You see they've lost about 5 models. But this Beastlord herd they're up against is also taking a lot of damage. You see the rear charge coming in here from the Gorebull, and that'll actually, oh, that Gorebull will do some major damage to those Chosen. So, you know, we've got to keep it moving, and hopefully I'm getting this right now, getting Prince Sigvald in here, and we're going to get him on top of this Beastlord. So if you can see here, you can see in slow motion, you see Prince Sigvald miss against that Beastlord. And let's see, they're get it going. They're going to turn around. They're going to fight each other. But it is not going to be a fair fight because in come those Chosen with halberds. And they're going to surround that Beastlord. So you can see here his health is going to just drop super quickly. And once he goes down, I think that that's going to be pretty much it. So if you take a look here, you can see that a lot of these Beastlord herd have been taken down. These Minotaurs are still fighting it out, but we still have plenty of health. We've still got the Chaos Sorcerer of Death here going on. You can see here in the back that Beastlord is routing off, 600 health remaining, and these two Gorebulls, they're going to have some trouble holding up the resistance. In the back here, you can see that a couple more units, his Centaurs and throwing axes are coming here from the flanks. He's definitely got some Minotaurs coming in, and this is just a huge blob of Chaos units in here. You can see we've got Poison Warhounds. You can see there's Chaos Warriors, all sorts of units. Even those Chosen with halberds are in here. You see, even though the Minotaurs get that big charge coming in, they're going to get surrounded and pulled down rather quickly. Over here in the, I think it was in the back that finally we charged in and took that Beastlord down, and that was pretty much it. That was the end of that battle. So it was a blast, but I mean there was so much going on, and I think that really it came down to just a little bit of positioning. You can see here that Ragnarok. So one main thing I want to just say to everyone, campaign players. You know, people who play a lot of campaign may not always know, but what we consider in multiplayer, one of the resources is the Winds of Death that they give you. So that's for free. So if you can bring a caster, even the cheapest possible caster, with only one spell for like 400 gold, and then you can maximize your use of all of that free Winds of Magic. So if Ragnarok here had sacrificed one of these Gorebulls, you know, which I feel like even one Gorebull right now, so in multiplayer balance, one Gorebull is a little iffy because Gorebulls do have a hard time with the one thing they're supposed to be good at. They don't have enough mass, so they get knocked around a lot. And their attack animations are kind of clunky right now. So one Gorebull is pretty much the max you would bring, and then the second you would want to bring a caster with at least 1 or 2 spells, even if he's on foot, just to be nice and cheap and to allow yourself to make use of just a huge amount of, I mean, each Lore of Magic has 1 or 2 just massive spells that you can get great value out of. You know, you can get Devolve, or you can go with Flock of Doom, you can, you know, just summon a Manticore or summon a Cygor. There's so many different fun options that you can make real good gold value usage out of the Winds of Magic. So if you can change out one of those Gorebulls, get some Winds of Magic in there, maybe allow you to get Morgur, or maybe, you know, Kazrak up on top of on his chariot or something, that extra gold would go a long way. Other than that, I really think that the army worked out pretty well. The best score herd could have been a little bit farther back to keep from taking that charge from my Chaos Warriors. You don't want to give units like these Chaos Marauders and Chaos Warriors that we had in there. I mean, look, we had 82 kills on this group of Chaos Marauders. So they were in there just cutting down those Ungors, no problem. And so this was kind of the frontline flak units. And then here in the back, those big Chosen with halberds, and they were, I mean, look at the damage they did. They've got ranks on them. And you know, they were able to kill Minotaurs. They killed, you know, they dropped this Gorebull almost immediately, surrounded him and cut him down. And really, we were able to kind of just take out the flanks there. Those 2 Centaurs with throwing axes were definitely overwhelmed by these 3 Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. You saw we also got those Chaos Poison Warhounds to come in there. And that's the trick. So I've found that one of my big things is that if you're going to go for the skirmish game and that's something you're going to go for, do it and do it well. So I feel like 3 throwing axes was going to be pretty overwhelming. Even if he had some Centaurs with you know, great weapons or something, these 2 Chaos Poison Warhounds I think would have kind of sealed the deal. And these 5 units, they're going to really, I mean, if we would have had to, we could have gotten the Chaos Sorcerer over there with the Fate of Buna to take out some great weapon Centaurs or something. But you really want to, if you can overwhelm their harassing, then you've got this whole army that you're able to kind of, you know, get around in the back, that they have to then split off some of their infantry engagement to deal with, at which point you're able to kind of select whichever infantry units are overwhelmed and, you know, use them to your advantage. So overall, you know, I've just been trying it. It's been working out. So it did work out in this round 3 of Shadows tournament. I got another win, guys. So I'm 2-1, 2 wins, 1 loss. I did lose the turn so far. I've just been having some great games and great opponents. So the tournament's been fun so far. There's been there will be a couple more games. I think there's 3 more games coming up that I've got to post, and then you guys should be cheering me on because I am going to take down the big boys, man. I'm not by far not a favorite, so I hope you guys are here cheering me on. I will be getting the Blood Bowl going soon. We'll be getting the playoffs going. I've just kind of got to wrap things up around here, and you know, we'll have all the new content coming up in the next couple of weeks, guys. So you know, keep your eyes tuned. Just go ahead and toss me a like on the videos if you can. I know that it sounds kind of trite to say it, but it does really help me out on the YouTube search stuff. If you toss a like on my videos, I'd really appreciate it, guys. I appreciate your support. Toss some comments below if you have anything you want to see. Thank you guys all so much for watching. This is BlackIron, and this has been another one of BlackIron's Battle.